Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so blessed. I feel so blessed that you've decided to watch this video. If you are a returning viewer, a returning subscriber, I just want to say thank you so much because I love you so much. You are helping this channel to grow and you inspire me and you motivate me, just to keep coming back and sharing lots of interesting things with you. If you're here for the first time and you have not yet subscribed, or if you have been here before but you have not yet subscribed, then please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, it'll be somewhere down there. And also what I would appreciate is that if you give the video a thumbs up and share the video with friends, family, colleagues, anyone, even on your social media platforms. So you can share through WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, etc. So I would say 2023 is probably the year that I retained the most length ever in my life. And I'm talking about my natural hair. Yes, it's in a protective style, but I would say 2023, I retained the most length that I ever have. And it was because I incorporated a few things into my routine. And if, once I did something and I saw that was working, I stuck with it. And so today I'm going to share with you not one but 5 things that lead me to retain hair or retain length in 2023, because I know this might be a goal of yours. It's one of mine to retain more length, to continue to retain length. And I thought, if I share the things that I did, some of you might find it helpful, particularly if you've been struggling with length retention. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching, don't go away. Okay, so yes, 2023. It wasn't that, at the start I knew everything. I mean, I see this as a journey. I learned some things which work, other things which don't work, other things which are complete disasters, believe it or not. But the 5 things that I wanted to talk about and focus on in this video, there might be more along the way, but so far I have these 5 things which I'm going to share with you. So number 1, keeping my hair moisturized. I think we all know that hair breaks when it's dry, but keeping our hair moisturized seems to be a challenge for us for a variety of reasons, whether it's just through lack of knowledge or because of our practices. Sometimes keeping our hair moisturized is a challenge. And I used to be one of those people. I would wash my hair, use all my moisturizing shampoos, deep conditioners, and the rest of it. But by the next day, my hair was dry and crispy, and I was like, oh gosh, what's happened? So that I would end up having to re-moisturize. And I think, way back when, I probably felt like I needed to moisturize every single day. And in fact, I did, just to keep dryness at bay. However, I have now found a routine which really works for me. I know it doesn't work for everybody, and I tried to kind of give you ideas of how you can modify it so that you can keep your hair moisturized. But if you really have a way that keeps your hair moisturized for longer, at least 4 or 5 days, I would say, then stick with it, because moisture, keeping our hair moisturized, is basically key to length retention. And if you're a little bit confused about what moisture and is compared to hydration, I did a little video recently explaining the differences, and I'll put a link to that video in the description box below. It was a live, so anyway, I'll put a link in the description box below. So the reason why moisturizing and keeping your hair moisturized for longer helps with length retention is that, one, it stops the brittleness and the dryness and the snapping of the hair, which happens when the hair is really dry. But also things like split ends and fairy knots, they generally are a consequence of dryness, extreme dryness. Yes, our hair is very coily for some of us, like, type 4 hair. The hair will be very coily, and as it settles back into its default position, some of those curls might curl into each other and cause knotting and tangling, or just the coil itself might coil around itself, and eventually you form a knot. And that's inevitable. It's always going to happen at some point. But the main thing is to try and prevent them as much as possible. And keeping the hair moisturized really helps with that. And keeping the hair moisturized also helps with keeping split ends at bay. Split ends, they are the enemy when you're thinking about length retention, because they're going to keep your hair breaking and keeping your hair either the same length or just keep getting shorter and shorter. And you think, yeah, my hair seems to be growing out of my scalp. You do protective style and you see, oh, my hair is this long. But when you undo your protective style, you find that your hair just seems to be either the same length or shorter because of split ends. Because they don't survive, and you cannot mend them no matter what anybody says. So keeping my hair moisturized has been number one. And number two is protective styling. So there is what we call primary protective styling, which is like, just braiding your hair or putting it into twists or mini twists or whatever you do. And then the secondary protective styling, which a few YouTubers have been talking about. And that is, you've put your hair into protective style, and then you do another protective style to basically to tuck your ends in. So for example, if this is like the braids, these are my braids are my primary protective style. And then if I were to twist this, roll it into a bun and tuck the ends in, this will now become the secondary protective style. I'll just let it down now because, I'm filming and wanted to look presentable. But that's what, really helps. And the reason why protective styling really helped me was because, one, it kept my hair moisturized, because my hair wasn't, drying out quickly. And also it keeps my hands out of my hair, because the more manipulation we do, the more breakage you're going to get. It's inevitable. I know, it's lovely to see our hair out, and we advocate for that. And I know, as people who are in the natural hair community, some people feel we should be advocating that we keep our hair out. Unfortunately, that might not work for everybody. There are lots of people who keep their hair out, and that's fine. But for many of us, keeping our hair in protective styles really helps, just to reduce the breakage and the damage and the friction, etc., that can happen. If your hair is up to here and you keep it out, maybe rubbing on your clothes or coats or scarves or whatever, and you could see breakage and things like that. So protective styling has been key. And on that note, I realized that not every protective style works for me. One of the things that I absolutely love are minute twists. I see people with minute twists and then twist outs. And I really, really wanted to learn how to do that and, keep my hair in minute twists. So I did that. I learned how to keep my hair in minute twists, but unfortunately it just did not work for me. I think there's probably one technique that I haven't mastered the technique, but I think because my ends will end up, exposed for too long, it just didn't really work for me. Well, they didn't work for me, minute twists. It's not the same as, gosh, what do they call them? This twist with extensions. If you remember the name, please put it in the description box below, because I forgot to, no, not in the description, in the comments. What am I talking about? Put it in the comments below to remind me. But yes, I realized that not every protective style is going to work for me. So you need to decide which one works for you the best, and then stick with that. For me, it is braids, box braids, knotless braids, whatever you want to call it, that keeps my own hair pretty much tucked in. and protected. I do use a lot of African threading as my short-term protective styles, particularly if I'm going to be, kind of washing my hair and doing content on, applying products into my hair. Then it's easier with African threading because it's so quick and I can undo it and redo it quickly. Unlike, box braids, I can't do this on a weekly basis, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you have to be careful and choose ones that work for you. And we know not everything works for everybody, and that includes protective styles. Um, and then the third thing was to trim my hair whenever I needed to trim my hair. Back in the day, ages ago, I mean, my hair was kind of plateaued, and I always wondered why. But if you asked me then when I had my hair trimmed, I can't even remember. I think maybe it's a bit of snipping or something here and there, but actually proper trimming, I never used to do that. And I'm so ashamed to say it, but I know there will be people who probably do the same right now, and I need you to stop, okay? Trimming your hair to remove raggedy ends and split ends, fairy knots and things like that absolutely helps in terms of length retention. And the reason is because split ends, it starts off like this, or let's say this is your hair shaft or this is your hair shaft, and then if you are going to get a split end, then it starts to split and it starts off like this and then keeps going. Eventually it gets down to the root and then it just breaks off because now this is so fragile, it's not as strong as it was. So like the minute you see split ends, you want to go and cut them off and keep healthy hair there. It's like a ladder in your tights or stockings, once it's going, it goes. I know there are ways to around that, with some nail polish. I don't know if you know that little hack, but eventually you will damage your hair. So if you've got split ends, you need to trim them off. And I found that because I kept my hair moisturized very well and I kept my hair in protective styles, pretty much, all the time or most of the time, I found that then my ends stayed healthier for longer, and therefore that's why I believe that, you don't just cut off hair, healthy ends for the sake of it because, it's now 3 weeks since I last trimmed my hair. I trim the bits that need to be trimmed when it needs to be trimmed. But I definitely want to make sure that I absolutely do that and not put it off like what I did a couple of times during the year. But I found that actually doing the trims helped to retain length because then at least the shaft that was growing was getting longer and longer without the splits, and therefore it was healthier. And yes, I know sometimes people talk about, if you start to see through hair, it means you need to trim. And yes, that might be the case for some people, but sometimes you have to remember that hair might grow at different lengths. Like for example, if you're if all these strands, or these are hair strands and they're healthy, but they're not at the same level, it might look nice and neat to trim, and I admit I do this sometimes, but if your hair strands are healthy, this area here is not going to be as dense as here, just because the hair strands, and some hair strands are longer than others because they go into the different phases of the hair cycle at different stages, etc., and they may grow at different rates. So I think it pays to actually look at you and analyze your hair, and if you cannot do that yourself, get someone that you trust to do it for you and trim your hair. A lot of people go and get their hair trimmed professionally. I haven't as yet. I've never had that done. I do plan to do that at some point once I find a stylist who I know is good at what they do and I can trust them. The other thing as well that really helped with length retention was sticking with my oils. Now, there's been this trend. I don't know if the trend is kind of phasing out or is still active. I'm not sure. I'm not really trying to keep up with it because there's been quite a lot of nasty conversations happening around that. But for a while, a lot of people were talking about the no oils, no butters thing, and perhaps it worked for some people. But for me, I know it would not have worked. So my hair is too precious to experiment like that. So I never jumped on that trend at all. And I just say, you know what, you should never just jump onto a trend because, the person next to you is doing it, or some YouTuber says, oh, this is what you do, or some stylist says that you should do this. It may work for them, and maybe it may work for a few people they know, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's automatically going to work for you. So the reason I like my oils and my butters is because my strands, my hair strands, they need the lubrication. If they don't have the lubrication, they're going to have friction, and that's just going to encourage split ends, knots, tangles, etc. And I don't want that. So I definitely stick with my oils. They work for me, and my butters, and I'm going to continue. So I think that definitely helped, the fact that I chose not to follow a certain trend, a popular trend, and stuck with what I know my hair likes. And that's what I encourage you to do. If you see something that works for you, go with it. If you're looking for information, absolutely, this is when you can watch, or listen to other people, get different views, different viewpoints, and then all different opinions, and then you make yourself a judgment. I believe everybody's intelligent enough to make a judgment based on what works for them. And if you can you can do a bit of trial and error. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you try it and you see it's not working, then don't stick with it. Change the game, change the lane. I know we want to say stay in your lane, but if you see this is not working, sometimes you have to change and then go, in a lane that's better. And I'm definitely staying in the oil lane, oils and butter lane. Lots of people say don't oil, whatever. While other people are saying don't use oils, I'm busy going, oh, really? Okay. I love them. So I'm not saying everybody has to do what I do, but I'm just saying this is what helped me to retain my length. So we've talked about moisture, we've talked about protective styling, we've talked about trimming, we've talked about the oils, and then last but not least is protecting my hair whenever I go to bed or I lie down. I quite enjoy lying on the sofa watching TV or a movie or a film. But what I've absolutely made sure of, I got myself some bonnets. They work for me. I love them. They're good. They fit my hair and actually fit my protective styles, these extensions as well, and I love them. I have put a link in the description box below if you're looking for, good ones. What I would say about them is that, I actually wear them inside out so that there's a seam you'll find, and I don't want that seam rubbing anyway on my hair. No friction, remember. So the other thing is I always protect my hair, like when I'm going swimming or even when I'm taking a shower. Ages ago, I used to think, the steam from the shower would help with, moisturizing, but actually, no, I'm done with that because I moisturize my hair wash day, and that's it until the next wash day. So, and the other thing, I just didn't want my hair, to be the temperatures going up and down and the rest of it. So I protect my hair with a shower cap whenever I have a shower, or even when I have a bath, and I always wear a swimming cap when I go swimming. And I also protect my hair when I go to bed at night. So I wear my bonnet or a scarf. I wear satin. I'm not bourgeois yet. To get silk, satin works. I use it. It's readily accessible. It's affordable, and it works. So, yeah, maybe one day, I don't know. Maybe if you give me some super thanks, they might add up, and I might get some silk. Who knows? Anyway, I'm just kidding. But yes, so I wear my satin bonnets, and I also use satin pillowcases. Now, back in the day before I actually started to do that religiously, I always wondered why I would find broken pieces of hair on my pillows, and honestly, it never clicked. It never clicked that it was because I wasn't protecting my hair. I would go to bed without a bonnet or a scarf, and I would use my cotton pillowcases. And I thought, but these are wonderful, pure cotton, high quality cotton. It doesn't matter. Cotton will soak up that oil, and that's why you see your pillowcase will be, greasy or whatever, or even wet if you go to bed with wet hair, which you should never do. Well, which I don't do. But I realize that as you're tossing and turning when you're sleeping, I mean, you can try and stay as still as possible, but that's not going to happen. You're going to toss and turn whether you like it or not, or just turn from side to side, or move your head in some direction or other, and that friction is going to cause breakage, no matter how moisturized your hair is. Okay, so you do need to protect your hair when you go to bed. The minimum is a bonnet. If you want to go extra like me, I wear the bonnet and I use the satin pillowcases. If you're not a bonnet person or a scarf person, then at least get a satin pillowcase, and that works. So yes, I know sometimes it's hard to find the color that matches the rest of your bedding, but hey, you can have one pillow, which is your sleep pillow, which has the satin pillowcase, and then during the day you can tuck that away and have your nice other colors, etc., on display. How about that's what I do. Okay, and it works. And of course, remember, you need to wash our bonnets and our pillowcases regularly. I know some people use black pillowcases and black bonnets and forget to wash. Oh, you need to wash. Cleanliness is nearest to godliness. I remember that was drilled into me when I was a child, and I still drill it into myself. So yeah, keeping them clean. So those are the 5 things which I believe really helped me to retain hair the most I've ever done in year 2023. And if you watch the live I did sharing my goals, I might do another video talking about my goals a little later down the line. But if you watch that, then you'll see that one of my goals is to retain length, and I say at least 4 inches. So we have to step up and and show up and do what we need to do to retain length as much as possible. And I believe if you at least do those things, they will go a long way to helping your hair keep it healthy, keep it happy, and retain length, if that's your goal. Even if it's not your goal to get long hair, you still want to keep the hair on your head, right? And you just don't want it breaking, right? So these things will work for you. Anyway, so if you're thinking about, you want to know how I moisturize my hair, I'll put a link in the description below, and that talks about my intensive moisturizing routine, which I stick to. The oils, there is a playlist of my hair growth oils that I use, as well as the castor oil that I use for sealing. You'll hear about that in the moisturizing video, and then trimming. I have shown you, I did a video just explaining how I trim my hair. If I change the method, or even if I go and get it done professionally, I'll definitely film that and show you. And then of course, bonnets and satin pillowcases, you can find them anywhere. Or you can even make your own if you know how to sew. Yeah, some people have talents. I can sew. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it useful. At least one thing was helpful to you, or even if it, they serve to be reminders of what you need to do. If you were, kind of lagging behind or slacking, even though you know what to do, because it happens to all of us. Or if you've been struggling to retain length, then I hope at least what I've shared today will help you and will make 2024 even better than 2023. Let's make this year the best ever. And achieve all our health goals. Anyway, if you've got any questions at all, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will have another video for you real soon. But until then, my lovelies, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and God bless. Bye for now.